The Automated Podcast.
Welcome back to the Automated Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Marc Verbenkov. So this week, we will be exploring automation in agriculture, and specifically vertical and indoor farming. So I've actually spoken about vertical farming in a past episode, and specifically how it has a very high potential to lower a large number of individuals that are actually needed to perform work in agriculture. But I think it's also seen as a technology that can be part of the solution to the growing human population, as well as simultaneous reduction of total arable land that we find across the world. So to discuss these issues and many more, I'm joined this week by Kirill Zelenski. He is the CEO of Intellectual Farms, headquarters for Europe, Middle East, and Africa. So Kirill is a business development strategist with 20 years of experience enhancing corporate visibility and profitability in different industries, parts of the world, and working cultures, and shares with us the interesting work of iFarm and the growing vertical farm industry. So I hope you find the discussion as I did. Okay, well, I am here with Kirill from iFarm. Thanks for joining me on the podcast today, Kirill.
Thank you for inviting me, Marc.
Yeah, my pleasure. So we're going to be talking a little bit about vertical farming and agriculture in general today. But what I do with some of the guests that come onto the podcast is I ask generally how you got interested in vertical farming and the industry that you're working in. So maybe we can start there.
Actually, I was pushed to this and got interested because, first of all, it was very personal story. Actually, first of all, it was pushing by my friend who was founding this company, and he was very passionate about it at start, and he said me, okay, now you can not just grow, okay, even living in Finland, you cannot just grow some cucumbers or something very very simple, but you can be like a god. You can grow inside whatever you want. And then I was asking him, is it possible to grow wasabi? Because I love sushi, I love wasabi, and I know that most of wasabi, when you can get in restaurants, it's not wasabi. And and then he told me yes, you can do whatever. And then I said yes, I'm very interested. So it's personal interest.
Right. I think that's interesting. It's typically how people get involved in the industry or sort of the work that they're using. But glad to hear that there was one specific thing that draw you into this industry. As we were speaking about before the recording, I think this might be one of the first or second times that a number of the audience members would be hearing about vertical farming. So maybe you can just kind of give some anecdotes or some idea as to the size of vertical farming as it is in the world.
Okay, I would say they're very different. First of all, vertical farms is quite new technology anyway, because it appears let's say last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because before that it was not possible to put seeds vertically, because you need light all the time to grow, and then if you put light too close to crops, they will be burned.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now technology allows us to use LED light, and LED light you can put even 10 centimeters between crops and light, so it's still okay, it's still growing and it's not heating too much. So first of all, it's very young technology. Second, it's also was not possible, and some people were thinking before that okay, it still can be used in greenhouses, and then it still needed to be some agricultural knowledges for people who is doing that. Today we combined all together. We combined like software knowledges, all data sets, and agriculture together. And then new technologies allows us to build these farms in cities without agriculture guys, and in any building, and even in cabinet size, like put it into kitchen appliances.
Mm-hmm.
So I think right now market is growing very, very rapidly because of technology, and also interest. Many people are interested in it, so interest is growing rapidly. I would say that today maybe it's big portion of indoor market. If we are speaking about indoor farming technology market as 44 billions in 2023, I would say that part of it it's already vertical farm, maybe 50%. There is no yet very good research about size of market, exactly vertical farming, because vertical it just kind of term which tells you that okay, you can grow in vertical installment, one layer on another. But if you grow something really big like tomatoes or vanilla, then it's 2 meter high. In normal room you can put only two layers. So is it vertical or not? But it's anyway indoor farming technology. It's the same technology as vertical, but not vertical at all. So, but
Right.
problem here, which is solved by vertical farm, is that food is not traveling anymore. So you can grow in any closed building. You can build this vertical farm or totally controlled indoor farm in every building, in every house, in a basement or in your sleeping room, wherever. And you can grow food locally, and you can just grow wherever you live. So it gives you just, I would say, freedom to live everywhere. It's kind of new level of freedom, because even if you go to North Pole, you can grow food. You go to Sahara Resort, you can grow food. You can go to the moon, you can grow food. So you don't need to deliver food and buy it from outside. This is the most important, and I think this market will be growing even more rapidly. It will be just skyrocketing when technology allows us to make it even cheaper.
Right. Yeah, and this was one of the things I actually wanted to touch on specifically in this episode, right? The benefits of vertical farming. I think with any kind of new technology, you have this Gartner hype cycle where all the kind of benefits are just thrown in the face of anybody who's interested in such a technology. You touched on maybe the most important one, this kind of location independent way of growing most of the foods that vertical farming can grow. I was also wondering if you could touch on maybe the reduction in resource use, because from what I've been reading, that's also quite a significant benefit of vertical farming, specifically with reduced water use.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. Because in vertical farm we can organize water recycling all the time, and those we can supply exact amount of water which crops needed, and then we can spend something like 99% less water than in traditional farming. Same story with the land, even more, because we don't need any kind of land for vertical farming. We can build it inside house, and we do not use soil, so which allows us to grow without soil. And then also when we control totally environment, but for vertical farming usually we do control.
Hmm.
So first of all, we can be like a god and grow whatever, because we can install whatever climate inside. And then second, we can play with the tests, and it's one of the benefits also, not just reduced resource usage, but also we can create different tests. And I can grow here in Finland. I can grow strawberry with tests like strawberry grown in Texas, for example, or in Turkey, or in Brazil or any other country. I just tell that, okay, I want this one climate, and I will get this climate inside vertical farm, and it will have the same test. And also the reduced, of course, usage of resources. And also I am not spending resources to deliver this food. And also I'm not producing this greenhouse gas. So I'm just eating CO2 and producing oxygen same time,
Right.
which
And
is which is amazing.
right. But I think this also brings up a couple other questions around like the challenges or the critiques of vertical farming that I've been reading and preparing for the talk that we have today. One of the things that I think is maybe one of the more critical views of vertical farming is that there actually are not too many crops that you can create. But I was unsure, is this simply because it's not profitable for companies to do that, or is it some sort of limitation on the technology itself?
I would say it's both reasons. First of all, limited crop types is because it's new technology and not everything yet being tested. In generally, we can grow whatever. Generally, we cannot grow only meat because we do not have seeds for meat.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever growing, we can grow. So it's only question how economically feasible it will be, and also only question that we can do uh, anything, but we cannot do everything. So it's question of time when we will test more crops and we will allow more crops to be grown in vertical farms. When I say we, it doesn't mean only iFarm, but other companies too. So of course, first of all, any vertical farmers are trying to concentrate what is growing faster and giving better economical results and more profit. But in principle, in generally, you can grow whatever. So it's only a question that when you will need it, and also technology will go cheaper and allows you to grow more different varieties.
Okay. So yeah, it really seems like there's the business model part of the equation as well as the technology. And I think from what I've been understanding, both of these things are going to be developing over the next 5 to 10 years to enable more of these crop varieties to be grown.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah. Okay. So maybe this is a good segue into your company, iFarm. I think one of the main reasons that I wanted to have you onto the podcast today was obviously to talk about iFarm, but specifically the automated systems that you're enabling these vertical and indoor farms to actually use. So I do have a number of questions about the specific technologies, but maybe you can just start off with a basic understanding of what iFarm is and more or less what they do.
Okay, what am I trying to do? Am I trying to build the systems and am I trying to build software which is managing farms? Actually, I'm doing this software which allows you to work with farms like personal computers. So our idea is that our users they should be able just to push button saying I want rucola or I want strawberry, and then farms will automatically make the rest, just telling users that okay, you should put those seeds on this place, and then it's growing automatically, and then system alarm you when it's time to harvest. So our idea is that it should be same easy as personal computer. When you open, go to internet, and you don't know how software developers did it, but it's just working. Same thing my trying to do. And for doing that, we have own farms, my testing everything, and my testing crops how they works, and my collecting information about them and putting into software. And then this software is working, and this software knows that okay, for rucola you need to have for example 23-degree temperature by Celsius, and then our computers will give an order to farm and manage to get exact temperature, exact humidity, exact mixing of fertilizers that gives rucola optimal growing conditions. And am I doing it? Am I selling this system? But not all of our customers they have vertical farms yet.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't, then my coming to them and also my designing farms and helping them to build it. So my designing farms, my preparing list of equipment they need, maybe helping to buy this equipment, and then my helping to install and connect it with our software, and then we start to provide only software. So this is how we work. So my coming to customers if they have farm, and then my embedding our software to farm and our database of knowledges about crops, or my building farms from 0 point. So my designing, selling equipment, and then supplying software after that.
Okay, very interesting. Just one question on the equipment that you help. So I guess this would be kind of anything that you would need to set up an indoor or vertical farm. Would this also include, say, different sort of robotic arms in order to do the planting, the maintenance, and the eventual harvesting of the plants that are being grown?
Yeah, actually, we have seeding robots and harvesting robots,
Hmm.
and then it really depends from the size of farm. So if it is small farm, like 100 square meters, then we are not recommending to use them because they're quite expensive,
Hmm.
and then there is economically not interesting to buy robots for hundreds thousand euro and just to collect several crops. But for big farms, I definitely recommending them. For small one, I recommending just have kind of semi-automated farms, like when you have manual seeding and manual harvesting, everything else is doing automatically anyway. So, but we have all of them, yes.
Very interesting. Yeah. So really, if I have a picture in my mind here, what you're enabling is that specifically through the IT cloud system, right? That software that you have, and then the kind of other, whether it's robots or the actual the vertical farming infrastructure that you're supplying, you're enabling kind of a fully automated farm for people to or businesses to grow the. I think you have about 120 crop varieties that you're able to do this for.
Yeah, today yes, and my growing this amount every month, so I'm adding by 10 different crops monthly because I have own farms and also our customers are testing new varieties all the time. So nobody just want to have you know 5 types of salads
Hmm.
and just live well. So everyone wants to experimenting and by experimenting together with our customers, we are adding more crops to our portfolio automatically.
Hmm. Hmm. And yeah, this testing kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, right? You have this environment where you're able to create whatever environment that you want in order to test the best parameters for growing, say, as you said, strawberries or whatnot. And I would assume that this is then fed back into your software, your IT cloud system, where all of your clients are able to use that information to change or nudge the parameters in order to make the crops a little bit healthier, a little bit faster, maybe in their growth, etc.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's available immediately when we have new grown recipe for certain crops. Every one of our customers they get it immediately. This is one of the benefits of this cloud-based system.
I was reading on your website, you have machine learning built into that software in order to generate kind of more precise parameters, or maybe you can touch on specifically how the machine learning is used to increase the care for these crops.
Yeah, this absolutely. First of all, it's to avoid mistakes and to correct if everything goes not correct. So first of all, our system allows us to recognize some problems with growing or diseases on very early stage. So this is the first to save crops and to save harvest for our customers. But from other side, also we can control and we can even predict what will happen with crops and we can adjust parameters and make it better somehow using picturing and even our drones are flying and making
Mm.
pictures and then we recognize everything by pictures and we have already big data sets of pictures of different crops and we understand how they should looks like on each day and even each minute of grow. But from other side, I already starting to play with different tests and flavors. So it's not drones which are
Mm.
flying. It's not that cool to see, but also my starting to learn to and recognize what we need to do and how we could be able to change the test and flavor, which is very important for certain food processing and also for high quality restaurants and other kind of customers which are very sensitive to flavor of food.
Right, that's super interesting. So you're using a combination of, say, drones for monitoring, machine learning, and vision systems in order to do, if I understand it correctly, to do two main things, right? One is to reduce the risk, certain
Mhm.
sort of diseases for the crops, but then also change the parameters to make the flavors different for the, I guess every different culture would have taste preferences
Yeah.
for the kind of crops that you have. That's very interesting. And all of this can be done kind of automated or semi-automated depending on the client that you have.
Yes, absolutely. But of course, after we teach the system how to understand it, and after we make some tests, and our engineers and agronomists they making some assumptions, of course.
Right.
But for doing that, but doing that, yes, we do have agronomists, we do have scientists who understand crops, but we're trying to do it exactly to make our customers, like use it without thinking about it at all.
Mm-hmm. Um, One of the things I also ask a number of the guests that come onto the podcast is, of course, we're living in kind of a new age with COVID. How has COVID impacted iFarm and vertical farming in general? I would assume that there would be growing interest with these automated systems because you don't need to have humans there interacting all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's COVID impact is very interesting. It's very dual impact.
Mm.
First wave on COVID in early March and April this year. It was uh, certain freeze of many activities. Some customers were saying that, okay, my stopping all projects, and we start to think how to survive, and then there is no new technologies needed, etc., etc. I'm also very worrying about it little bit for maybe a few weeks. And then after that, interest to this kind of technologies appears growing and growing and growing very actively, because everyone understood that local food production is the way to avoid all disruptions when borders are closed, when people cannot do work and cannot harvest, cannot grow food, etc. And then we got a lot of interest.
Mm.
I would say that during last 3 months we got something like 900 orders from 85 countries.
Wow.
Not all of them we can fulfill, not all of them will be converted into the farms,
Mm-hmm.
but it's incredible. It just, like every day I got messages from all around the world, and I'm speaking with people from Australia to North Pole. So
Mm.
most northern part was Spitsbergen, and then from Australia. So I got a lot of interest and orders, and people asking to build a vertical farming in their cities.
And this is a clear change or a clear difference or increase from before COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say it's kind of exploding.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It seems to be the case for many of these different kind of industries that focus on automating certain parts of supply chains or domains, et cetera. There really seems to be a new need for certain kind of automated systems out there,
I would
specifically
say
because of
it's not
COVID.
even about automated. It's about local food production. It's about disrupting this supply chain and just totally, I would say, totally substituting growing somewhere outside. Then there is warehouses between. Then it should be delivered, and then it's this vertical farming is totally changing whole industry in general.
Right. Yeah. This massive shortening of the supply chains by bringing things local, I think, is very interesting, and certainly was one of the initial reasons that I was interested in vertical farming. Um, One of the other questions that, of course, as the podcast really focuses on the impact of emerging technology on jobs. So you see this explosion, as you put it, of orders coming in for your technology, for the support in setting up these vertical farms. Have you seen maybe on your client side more of jobs being increased because of this, or do you also see with these automated systems a number of jobs being destroyed because of it? What's your take on that?
I would say it's changing. From one side, some things kind of destroying,
Mm-hmm.
because some jobs, because okay, farmers, they don't need to grow some salads or berries at farms, and they don't need to travel it, so you don't need drivers for trucks anymore. But from other side, they can do something else, and from other side as well, we still need people to build the farms. We still
Mm-hmm.
need engineers to control that the equipment is working. I would say its impact is not about reducing or increasing of jobs. I would say that they're just moving from one professionals to another ones.
Mm-hmm.
So we need little bit different persons. We need in semi-automated farms, we need people who will put seeds and who will harvest. In any kind of farms, we need engineers who will be working with equipment, and we need people who will construct farms physically.
Right.
So maybe here it will be increasing of amount of jobs, but from other side, normal farming and drivers, they're not needed for this part of food at least.
Right, right. Okay, that's clear. Yeah, there's a real transformation in the, I guess, the tasks as well as the jobs themselves, rather than the destruction or the creation of new jobs or old jobs. I see that the time here is a bit winding down, so maybe one of the last few questions for you. Um, is really vertical farming the future of farming? Do you see this as kind of a new hype, kind of a trend that many people are jumping onto right now, but might subside over the next few years? Or do you really see that we're moving away from soil-based agriculture towards this urban, indoor, and vertical farm? What's your vision of the future for that?
I would say that it is real future in our ideal world. Vertical farms will be in each house, in each building on this planet,
Mm-hmm.
and we will have it everywhere. So we will not back to the soil with simple things like with salads, berries, herbs, and with vegetables. Of course, for certain things like soybeans or potatoes or something like apple trees, we don't need vertical farms. It still can be grown on soil and still can be grown on under sun. But then we will convert some this kind of small things which are just I would say they should be transferred into city, and they should free land for other things, and then we can get, all of us can get more trees and more foods overall, because partly food will be grown in cities, and then the rest, of course, there is no sense to grow corn in vertical farms, just no sense to do it's grown on the fields very good way, and then it will not be economically feasible anyway. But for other things, we can grow in each house, and it will be better, healthier, fresher all the time.
That's a really interesting vision for the future. I think I also fall in line with that as well, from what I understand about vertical farming. I do have friends out there that do work in the agricultural domain, so they did have a big critique about vertical farming as kind of using a lot of capital expenditure to do kind of what a lot of natural systems do well. But I think you're explaining that it won't be just vertical farming, right? There's
Yeah, we can
this
coexist.
yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. Yeah, I think also as maybe it's because of social media. If anybody's seen the Social Dilemma documentary, there's a lot of these ideas of it's either one thing or another. I was hoping to see where your vision of the future was leading. But yeah, if you're saying that things can coexist, I think it's a really interesting future for automated vertical farming, but also for the kind of traditional agriculture in the soil. Kirill, I see that our time is almost up here. I wanted to thank you very much for coming onto the podcast. I will, of course, have the iFarm website uploaded into the show notes. I'll also have your LinkedIn profile on there. Is there any other way that you want people to get a hold of you or follow what you're doing?
Actually, just visit our websites. Usually, my posting more and more news here, and my telling here about how vertical farms is working. So it's very good to follow it, and LinkedIn as well. And then of course I have a mail, Kirill at iFarm.fi, and then that's it. I'm
Perfect.
available all the time. Thank you very much for your time and an interview.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for taking the time as well. I'll let you get back to taking care of all the clients that keep contacting you. So thanks again.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So thanks for listening to this week's episode. If you want to support the podcast, you can leave a like or a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you want to get in touch, feel free to do so over Twitter or LinkedIn by searching for Automated Podcast. On the website, automatedpodcast.org, you can leave a comment on any of the episodes, read the transcripts, and look at the sources I use in all of these episodes. There are also blog articles and additional resources and information on this topic, and podcast if you are looking for more. See you next week.
The Automated Podcast.